It's hard to believe that we're about a quarter of the way through the season, and not all teams are. Some teams are not at the quarter mark. Some teams are well past it. Quarter of the season this year is 14 games. So once you reach that 14 game mark, you're a quarter of the way through the season. And so, for instance, Anaheim at the start here, they played 16, so they're a little bit past. But I wanted to grade teams at the quarter mark, and I wanted to talk about guys who were having either really hot starts, cold starts, and I want to talk about the new guy. And in a couple organizations, I may have cheated and just put a bunch of new guys up. All right. So for Anaheim, Maxime Comtois with 7 goals and 2 assists. He leads them in goals. A couple of them might be of the fluky variety, but fluky goals still count as goals. So 7 goals for him. Getzlaf, another slow start for him. A goal and 5 assists so far this season. The offense isn't what it was. And then for the new guy, Kevin Shattenkirk, no goals, 4 assists for him. And it's been an okay start for Shattenkirk there, but through 16 games, 4 assists might be a little bit below where he wanted to be. So 6, 7, and 3 is their overall record. I give them a C because this is based on expectation. So to me, the grade has to be based on expectation, not necessarily on record, because if it's on record, then what's the point of a grade? You have to kind of grade them on what you expected from them. So for me with Anaheim, it's probably right about where I expected it to be. Probably not a lot better. Maybe a little bit worse in some cases, right? The goal scoring has been low. Arizona, Nick Schmaltz, 6 goals, 7 assists. He's off to a very good start this year, comparatively speaking, with other years. Antti Ranta has 902 save percentage, problematic because Darcy Kemper's been good. But this season, more than others, you kind of need to have 2 goaltenders going. And if your backup's not playing as well, it'll definitely eat into your chances of making the playoffs. Pitlick, the new guy, 2 goals, 2 assists for him so far. I think they're finding out in Arizona what other franchises and their fans have found out. Pitlick's a very useful depth guy in your forward group. And their overall record 7, 6, and 2. I'm giving them a B minus. And again, I think they've done well. And I think considering all of the stuff that's always going on around Arizona, I think they do their best to tune everything out. You know, you've got a new GM in there, and things are always mildly unstable in Arizona, so I give them credit. They're still in the hunt. Boston, Nick Ritchie, 5 goals, 5 assists. Holding on to Ritchie, which I didn't think they would do after what happened in the playoffs. It was just a disaster. It turned out to be a really smart move. He's got 5 goals and 5 assists. Charlie Coyle is not putting up the kind of numbers that you'd like to see from him in Boston. 2 goals, 2 assists for him. And Craig Smith, the new guy, 3 goals, 2 assists. He's been useful. He's been a top 9 guy. I do worry about some of the cap money that's out there for Boston, but at the same time, he's been good. And the overall team record is 10-2 and 2. I give them an A because going into this season, the expectation was they had lost on the blue line. They were getting a year older, and it was probably about time for things to start falling apart for Boston, and yet here we are. Things are not falling apart for Boston. Buffalo, Olofsson leads them in scoring with 5 goals and 6 assists. He has 11 points in 11 games. He's off to a great start. Skinner with only the 1 helper so far, and whether you blame the coach, whether you blame Skinner, whether you blame the contract, whether you blame, I don't know, Gandhi, whatever you blame for this slow start from Skinner, it has been alarming. Just the 1 assist thus far. Eric Stahl, the new guy on in the lineup, 3 goals, 2 assists. He's had some good games and some iffy games, and overall the numbers haven't been too bad. The numbers for Buffalo so far, 4, 5, and 2. I give them a C. They weren't expected to be a playoff team this season. They're in a very, very tough division, and of course they were just shut down for about a 2-week period. So there's limited information. I'll throw them a C, and we'll see how things go from here. Calgary, Milan Lucic, 4 goals, 3 assists. You know what's more impressive with Lucic, though? This is some of the best hockey he's played since he was in LA. And I think he's playing really, really well right now. I think he's useful for them. And he's been quite the story, even if he'll never get back to the goal-scoring highs he experienced in Boston. Josh Levo with 2 assists. Yeah, he's been a healthy scratch. It's not working out very well in Calgary. Would take him back with open arms into Vancouver in a heartbeat. That effort of ability combined with character. There's some character deficiencies on some teams in the league, And I think Levo's a good character guy. We'll see how long he stays in Calgary. Chris Tanev, a goal and 2 assists for him so far since he came over from Vancouver. Very useful on the blue line. You just don't have 5-on-5 goals against when Tanev's on the ice. Overall, the team's got a record of 8-6-1. I give them a C+ for that. They've had, again, some good, some bad, and it's all kind of a mix there. We'll see whether or not they end up making the playoffs. It looks like maybe one team from Alberta does, one team from Alberta doesn't. We'll see what happens. Carolina, Jordan Staal has been a revelation since coming back off the COVID list. He's got 6 goals and 8 assists so far this season in 10 games. So 14 points for Staal. Jesper Fast, not playing in every game. He's been out, but he only has the 2 assists so far. Still waiting on the first goal from him. He is a new player. So with the new player, I went with Cedric Paquette, who played the 1 game last night. He's a -1 coming out of that game, but that's okay. It'll be interesting to see if Paquette against Tampa, how that dynamic works. Does he score goals against Tampa that he doesn't score against anybody else? Because he's like, hey, you guys traded me to Ottawa. So we'll see. They have a 10-3 record. I could not give Carolina anything below an A based on their current record. They've been excellent. So Chicago has been relevant and looks relevant and has been doing this longer than anybody else expected. DeBrincat's been absolutely fantastic. The chemistry between DeBrincat and Kane has been nothing short of inspiring, really. 8 goals and 8 assists for DeBrincat so far this year. That's the Alex DeBrincat from 2018-2019, the one from 2019-2020. Just shove him aside. This is the real DeBrincat as far as I'm concerned. Dylan Strome, the numbers have been lower for him than you might have thought with Doc and Taves out. He has 4 goals and 4 assists. He's putting up a minus right now, and we'll see how things work out for him beyond this season. Whether Taves comes back, of course, Doc will come back for next season, and what's Strome's future in the organization. Janmark, the new guy, has been fantastic. 6 goals and 4 assists. He's finally getting the puck in the net the way that I always thought with Dallas he was going to, and it just didn't happen. Now it's happening with another organization. 8-5-4 is the record for Chicago. I'm giving them a B+, because honestly, I think they've been better than anybody gave them credit for. They started slow too, so this is not like, they've been 8-5-4 overall and they win and they lose here and there. They've honestly been pretty good, and both Subban and Lankinen have given them really good goaltending over the last, 10 games? Yeah, these guys could play spoilers. Chicago. Mikko Rantanen, need to mention him. 7 goals, 3 assists, went on this really nice goal-scoring binge. I don't know if that's done now, and he falls back to a more regular goal-scoring amount, but quite the binge he went on. Graves with 1 assist so far. That's definitely a slow start for him. Brandon Saad, 5 goals and 3 assists. For the new guy, not too shabby. And Chicago, they might miss Saad a bit, but it looks like the new guys, the rookies, are doing pretty well. And then 7-4-1. I'm giving Colorado a B- right now. And again, that 7-4-1 record. I mean, it's okay. They're a playoff team with that kind of pace, but I do have some concerns with Chicago. We'll see whether or not they really round into form. I think this series against Vegas is going to tell us a lot. And the first game was fantastic. Can't wait for part 2 tonight. Columbus, Roslovic. In 10 games in Columbus, 4 goals and 6 assists. There you go. Jack Roslovic, the second-line center that the Jets needed, and he never really had that opportunity with Winnipeg. Domi, 2 goals, 4 assists. He was supposed to be that center that's getting the points like Roslovic is, and Domi's not. So no idea what's going on there. And Michael Del Zotto, also a new guy. So this is one of those teams I cheated, and they're all new guys. Del Zotto, 1 goal, 5 assists. He's a +9. Michael Del Zotto playing some of his best hockey in Columbus. Who knew that he was capable of such numbers? They have a 7-6-4 record. Overall, I'll say that's a C. They've been wildly inconsistent. Able to beat a great team one night and then playing down to a poor team the next. And it just they really haven't had that consistent ability to win games to the point where you can look and go, yeah, Columbus should be top 4 in that division. I don't know if they get there. Dallas, 8 goals, 9 assists. Joe Pavelski has been fantastic, right? Faksa, 1 goal, 1 assist. Been a bit of a slow start for him. I know Faksa can score. Eventually it's got to happen, right? And Kiro, a good story. because with 2 assists in 8 games, a guy who hadn't played in the league in quite a while, he came in, he filled in pretty well in the bottom 6. Kudos to him. The overall team record's 5-3-4. I'm giving them a B-. I'm leaning more towards a C+ when I think about it, though, because outside of that really fast start, it hasn't been a great run for Dallas. All that offense they showed early against Nashville, I mean, like game 1, it's kind of drying up already, and I don't know. I don't know where this team's going to be at the end of the year. I really don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. Detroit, Robbie Fabry with 4 goals, 1 assist in 9 games has played very well. And we were wondering coming into the season, so, was that real or was it a mirage? The way that he played with Detroit after the trade from St. Louis looks real. Larkin, 4 goals, 5 assists. He's played every game, and Larkin's numbers are low compared to what was expected. His plus-minus is actually low on the team. Now, again, we can talk about how he gets tougher matchups. He plays a lot of minutes, so his plus-minus might get scarier than some of the other guys in Detroit. But the overall numbers haven't really been where you might want them to be. And Bobby Ryan is the new guy, 4 goals, 4 assists, got off to a fast start. He still looks like he's a top 9 forward. It'll be interesting to see if they convert him into another asset at the deadline. The team is 4-10-3. I'm giving them a C-. It was ugly early. They've been playing better over their last 5 or 6 games. So I'm not going to give them a failing grade of a D, but I can't really justify having a team that's 4-10-3 higher than a C-. Can't do it. Edmonton. McDavid, it's not surprising he's over a point a game, but 30 points in 17 games is a lot. 9 goals, 21 assists. He's on pace for 65, 70 assists, somewhere in that ridiculous region. He's just playing so well. Cahoon, surprising that he's only got 2 goals and 3 assists so far. It's not a huge contract for him, so it's not like it's a big deal if he doesn't produce. Tyson Barrie is the new guy. And again, there's 2 new guys on there, right? 3 goals, 11 assists for Barrie. He has really picked up his scoring over the last couple of weeks. I give the team, who are 9-8, I give them a C+. I think any given night, Edmonton can look like, hey, these guys could be contenders. They could be the team that comes out of the North. And then a couple days later, you're like, I don't know if this team's making the playoffs. They can't stop the puck. So, again, really wildly inconsistent because that's how the North rolls. Florida, Verhaeghe, 7 goals, 5 assists. Amazing start to the season for him. And he's fighting. He's doing everything. He's really kind of sort of been absolutely anything you need for Florida. Verhaeghe's been that. Duclair had the slow start. He did finally get that first goal last night, so he's got 1 goal, 6 assists. We'll see if he now goes on a run. He does that, where he'll have 10 games where he has 8 goals, and then it's just quiet for the next 15. Hornquist, 6 goals, 6 assists as the new guy. And yes, with Florida, all 3 of them are new guys. Hornquist at 6 goals, 6 assists has been fantastic. They have a 9-2-2 record. Given them an A so far because, again, Florida, they've won 2 out of 3 against Tampa. We can discuss how they got the wins and who was on the roster, who was in net. The reality is they won 2 out of 3 against Tampa. Look pretty good. So things are looking up for Florida. LA, Kopitar, 4 goals, 13 assists. Really enjoyed the time off. Elias Anderson, who I know is new, but still the 1 goal so far in 10 games. That's low for a player who's looking for a bounce-back season after being shut out by the Rangers organization. And Athanasiou, who's only played 7 games due to injury, but 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points for him as the new guy. And again, we'll see when he gets back into the lineup how that helps and who that helps. 4-6-3 is the team's overall record. I give them a C-. We didn't expect LA to be in the playoffs necessarily, but I did expect them to be better than 4 wins in 13 games. So I throw the C- on them. Again, I really tried not to hand out Ds because I grade really nicely. I would have been a lousy high school teacher. I would have been, he showed up for 25% of the classes and he got 100% right in the 25% he showed up for. So that's got to be a pass, right? So, Greenway for Minnesota. We'll move on to Minnesota. 2 goals, 8 assists for Greenway to lead the team in scoring. Jordan Greenway's been fantastic. Coming into this season, Greenway and Virtanen were seen as being in the same spot, as being players that were young and being relied upon. Can they turn the corner? And in Greenway's case, the answer's been yes. In Virtanen's case, the answer's been less of a yes. But yeah, Bonino, 1 goal, 1 assist. He's been cold for Minnesota, regardless of what you may or may not have expected from Bonino. A goal and an assist is low. The new guy, I went with Cam Talbot. 920 save percentage. He has been really quite good when he's played for Minnesota. And again, showed, and this is why when he was with New York, I like Talbot a lot. And then he goes to Edmonton. The first year in Edmonton, he was pretty good. If he can keep this up, he can have a 920 save percentage through a whole season. We'll see if he can do that. They're at 6-5. They've been off for weeks. I give them a B minus. Again, they've been good, and we'll see whether or not they can nail down that fourth spot in their division. If they can, Talbot has proven very, very recently he can get hot in the playoffs. Montreal, Jeff Petrie, 6 goals, 9 assists. He is still at a point a game for the Montreal Canadiens. Philippe Danault, who is getting less ice time and less offensive responsibility with the emergence of Suzuki and Kotkaniemi, still looking for his first goal at 6 assists. Jake Allen, in net, 933 save percentage. St. Louis misses Jake Allen. I'm just going to say that straight out. If they had Allen and Binnington, I think they're probably a game or two here and there that maybe they lost that they could have won because Allen's just that good. 9-4-2 record right now for Montreal. I give them a B+. It would have been higher, but there have been some alarming trends outside of their games against Vancouver. They're great against Vancouver. Fantastic against Vancouver. And against other teams, there are some concerns I have. So I throw a B+ at them. Nashville, the best number, it was hard to find somebody that I thought was overperforming. So I thought, you know what? Rene at a 907 may not be seen as overperforming, but he's ahead of Saros. So the fact that Rene has basically become the starter again is kind of a surprise. I don't know if it stays that way, but he has been the better goaltender. Eric Howla, to this point, only the 4 assists on his record. And for the new guy, also multiple new guys on this one too, right? Cousins, 1 goal, 4 assists. He is the reason that Austin Watson was moved on from, because you don't need Austin Watson and Nick Cousins on the same team. The record is 6-9. I'm giving them a D. This has been a troubling start to the season, and the loss against Detroit was egregious. So I have to throw a D that way. And egregious to me because you have to win that game, and the effort just wasn't what you want if you're a Nashville fan. New Jersey, who've been off for a while, they've only played 9 games so far this year. They have a lot to make up. Keep in mind, they've played 9. Vancouver's played 19. So this is the trouble we're going to have with the schedule going forward. Kyle Wood, Miles Wood, I should say. 5 goals, 3 assists for Wood for the New Jersey Devils, and he's been fantastic when they've played. Paul Mary with just the 3 assists so far. You expect the goals. The goals will come sooner or later, I would think. Ryan Murray added in the offseason, 2 assists for them so far. He's played every game, and as long as he's healthy, he can be a useful defenseman. The record 4-3-2, I'm giving them a B. Because again, they're staying relevant in a division that, much like with Buffalo, it's a tough division. But New Jersey, we'll see how it goes for them from here. The Islanders, Barzal, 6 goals, 9 assists. It's noteworthy because the Islanders don't score goals. So the fact that Barzal in 14 games has 15 points is crazy. Means that when they get points, odds are Barzal's a part of it. When they get a goal, Barzal's probably a part of it because they just don't get goals, and he's still above a point a game. Josh Bailey, 1 goal, 5 assists. It's low. In terms of new guys, I just put a question mark. There are no rookies on the board, so I wasn't going to put Sorokin up there, because if I put up Sorokin, that means I have to go back through all these and go, okay, well, rookies, if we're going to add rookies. No, I got to keep the craziness to a minimum here. Video is going to be long enough as it is. 7-4-3 is the record for the Islanders. I give them a B-. Good at times. Their structure's really good. Their games are fast. Not a lot of penalties. They definitely have a style of game. They dictate that style because so many of their games end up this way. So they're dictating the game. But the results have been mixed results thus far. So B-. They still look like they should be a playoff team in that division, though. The New York Rangers, Buchnevich, I put up there 3 goals, 5 assists. He's actually their second leading scorer. So with Panarin out right now, and we don't know how long, it's probably day to day, but if it's not, Buchnevich is their top scorer. 3 goals, 5 assists. Chris Kreider with that huge brand new contract, 4 goals, 0 assists so far. I think they probably want more out of Kreider than they've had so far. And Jack Johnson, the new guy, has only played 5 games. He's a -4 in the 5 games he's played. Every time he plays, people will comment, I can't believe Jack Johnson's in the lineup instead of, and it's whoever he's in place of. 4 wins, 6 losses in regulation, and 3 losses in extra time. I'm giving them a C-. They were kind of envisioned to be maybe making that jump up. I remember when they got Lafreniere, the complaint was, they don't need Lafreniere. This team's already pretty good. They got all kinds of young guys. They already got Kakko. And Lafreniere, Kakko, there's a lot of guys that aren't scoring right now. The Rangers have some problems. C- for them. Now, Ottawa, Nick Paul, 3 goals, 5 assists. He's been fantastic. I would not be surprised if when the Seattle expansion goes up, if they protect him ahead of Colin White. I think it's that. I think he's that good, and it's not a slight on Colin White there. And I'm not saying that White's going to be exposed. Just using that as an example. Just don't worry about it. Derek Stepan, 1 goal, 3 assists. We know he wants out. We know they want to try to move him, but with that contract, when does it happen? How much salary did they have to retain? It'll be interesting to see what happens. I put up, and again, this is multiple new guys thing, right? Matt Murray, 882 save percentage. It's getting better. It was at, 849 about a week ago, so it's getting better. But still, it's a problematic overall run, and now he's been injured the last couple. He should be back for the next game, but still. 4-12-1 record, I'm giving Ottawa a C-. We didn't expect them to be in the playoffs. We figured that the Canadian division was going to be tough for them. It has been. The effort, though, over the last, 2.5 weeks, has been fantastic. I have, with them 4-12-1 and Detroit 4-10-3, there are some real parallels. So to me, both of them get a C-, as, we expected them to be teams that struggled this year, but the effort's there and they've played pretty well. Philly, James Van Riemsdyk, 7 goals, 11 assists. His career's come back from the dead. Shane Gostisbehere, 7 games played for him only, 1 assist, that's it. The +4 helps him, though, so the defensive numbers seem to be getting better. And Gostisbehere, it's always a matter of how much offense is he going to provide for you. How long does he stay in Philly? It's still a question that we have. Gustafsson, the new guy, 7 assists on the blue line. I still don't understand why Gustafsson was available for as long as he was. And Philly gets quite the deal with Gustafsson. They have an 8-3-2 record. They're coming back on this Thursday is the plan. I give them a B. I give them a B. Pittsburgh, with Teddy Bluger at 2 goals, 5 assists. It's a very good start for Teddy Bluger. And I love Teddy Bluger. Guy's fantastic. Evgeny Malkin with 3 goals, 4 assists. His scoring has picked up lately, but it's still not where you want it to be if you want to see Pittsburgh in contention. And Kasperi Kapanen, who's only played 10 games so far for Pittsburgh, 2 goals, 4 assists. Useful. And again, the defensive numbers would tell you Kapanen's pretty good. And we'll see if his role becomes more and more prominent as the season goes along. The Pittsburgh Penguins, their record is 7-5-1. I'm giving them a B- thus far on the season. Again, they're kind of right around that middling. Maybe they make it, maybe they don't in that division. We'll see. And they've got Washington tonight, so they do tend to do pretty well against Washington. San Jose, Ryan Donato, who went there in the offseason, so this is a new guy, and I understand there's multiple new guys here. But 3 goals, 4 assists, very noteworthy on a team that has had their struggles with scoring. Carlson on the slow side, 4 assists. And what really makes it interesting with just the 4 assists for Carlson is he's playing 25 minutes and 36 seconds per night. So while he was out of last night's game and he missed part of the game before, his average is still 25-36. And the 4 assists are nothing short of alarming for Carlson. Nieto, 3 goals and 1 assist for him in his return to San Jose. He's a good bottom 6 forward. They know what they're getting with Nieto, and good job bringing him back. Their overall record, 6-7-1. I'm giving them a C+. Yes, they're below 500, but their first 12 games of the season were on the road, and they came out of that just 1 game below 500 at 5-6-1. Not too shabby. So, San Jose, good job. St. Louis, Jordan Kyrou, of course, has been the story there. 6 goals, 8 assists in his hot start, which has cooled off a little bit, but he's still putting up goals here and there. Sanford, 2 goals and 1 assist, stands out for the opposite reason, where it's been kind of a cold start for him. I think if these numbers were reversed, it would be more of what was expected, although I've always loved Kyrou. I'm not surprised by Kyrou at this stage, But again, if you're looking for a hot start in St. Louis, he's the guy. Torrey Krug, 1 goal, 8 assists, 9 points in his debut season for St. Louis. I think he's played well. I think you've seen the best of Krug and the worst of him in the first, 16 games of the season. Yeah, I think he's kind of showed you a little bit of both. Why he's not necessarily as good as an all-around defenseman as Pietrangelo, but why he's worth the money as well. 9-5-2 record for St. Louis. I'm giving them a B. I think they've had a lot of games against Arizona, and now that they're done the 7 in a row against Arizona, which is almost half their schedule, we'll see how they do against the rest of the division. Remember, they did lose 4 of those 7 against Arizona, so does that speak more for how well Arizona's playing, or, again, we'll see as the rest of the season progresses. Really interested to see how they do against Colorado. That's really kind of the key for St. Louis. Tampa Bay, Palat, 6 goals, 6 assists. Fantastic start to the season for Andre Palat. And Killorn, 2 goals, 5 assists. Still waiting on the goal scoring from Alex Killorn, who may end up being a cap casualty sooner or later. You would think that Tampa looking to free up some more cap space so they can change out parts of the team. Killorn, you would think, would probably be a casualty there. And then new guy, because of their cap problems, they didn't really add anybody. They've got some rookies that are in the lineup, but again, if I throw Cal Foote up here, or I throw Volkov up here as well, he didn't play that much last year, then I got to change the whole rest of the board. So you get a question mark. Their overall record, 10-3-1, I have to give that an A. They've been very good, and they've been very good without Kucherov. Games without Stamkos, without Cirelli. This is a team that's been playing through injuries. Vasilevsky playing every single game until last night's game. So, yeah, overall solid record for Tampa Bay. Toronto. Matthews having 13 goals in 15 games is fantastic. 13 goals, 7 assists, 20 points. This is where American fans would come in and say, oh, he didn't score any of those against American teams and, against Canadian teams where it's all loosey-goosey pond hockey. There's something to that, but still, 13 goals. He has an excellent chance at winning the Rocket Richard Trophy this year. Jimmy Vesey, 2 goals, 1 assist. He's had some opportunities to maybe move up the lineup. It just hasn't worked out for him. He is, of course, a new guy, as is Joe Thornton, who's only played the 6 games, but he's got 2 goals and 2 assists in those 6 games. Thornton seems to be revitalized in Toronto offensively. Playing with Austin Matthews will do that for you. Their overall record, 11-3-2, despite the meltdown yesterday, I'm still giving them an A. The overall quarter, I'll throw them an A. I think they're the only A I've got in the North Division. Yeah, they're the only A in the North Division is Toronto. And again, that alarming loss against Ottawa last night, you've got to kind of look at that and go, okay, they've got some stuff to fix. But I'm not going to bust them in their grade for the whole quarter based on that game. Vancouver, it's been a disappointing run. There's no other way to put it. Brock Besser, though, 11 goals, 7 assists. He's been fantastic. For a guy who was in trade rumors for the last almost a year, right? Calendar year. He's done very, very well, and I think those trade rumors are gone. I really can't see Vancouver making a change. Gaudette, though, with 2 goals, and more alarmingly, he's a -10. Everybody talks about Hughes, and Quinn Hughes, he's -12, and Quinn Hughes and his... Yeah, Gaudette's a -10, and he was envisioned as your third-line center. Your third-line center should be your shutdown guy. There's not shutting anything down at a -10. Interestingly enough, Virtanen, with just the 1 goal so far this year, he's also a -2. So while they're not playing in the same situations, it shows you Gaudette may have to worry about being traded out just as much as Virtanen does. I could see them trying to move Gaudette. He's a RFA in the offseason. There may be some takers for Adam Gaudette. Nate Schmidt, the new guy, it is not working out well for him offensively in Vancouver. 1 goal, 2 assists. And I don't know that it's a good fit, and I don't know where the Canucks go from here, because if Nate Schmidt is a poor fit for the team, he's making $5.9 million on his contract that's not up at the end of this year, that's another reason to come back on the whole, so is Benning in trouble then? Because while we couldn't envision Schmidt would struggle like this in Vancouver, if it doesn't work, the GM is usually the one that'll pay the price on that. They have a 7-11-1 record. I have no problem giving them a D. They are, it's not been a good start to the season. And remember, they've played 19 games. The odds of them being able to turn this around, you'd have to think like they're 4 games below 500. They'd have to be probably 10 games above 500 over the next They got 35 games left. The math gets really dodgy already, right? So yeah, this has been a learning experience this season. Learning experiences are never fun. Vegas. Chandler Stevenson has been fantastic since getting to Vegas. 5 goals, 4 assists for him. Very, very good start. I went with Riley Smith as the slow start, 3 goals, 2 assists, because, again, you kind of expect a little more with Smith. And you have to wonder if, when Vegas is looking to make cap room, if Smith's going to be the guy that goes. I had speculated maybe Marchessault, but maybe it's Smith. Pietrangelo, 1 goal, 3 assists. He's been very good. The point totals may not be where they were in St. Louis, but they don't really need him to score like he did in St. Louis. And at a 10-2-1 record, Vegas gets the A. Because you can't not. And I know that I did the video on contention and how most of their opponents have been, California and teams that were at the lower end of the spectrum. It doesn't really matter, though. Their overall record's been good. I can't give them a C because, well, they only just beat those teams. So, yeah, they get an A overall. Washington, a team that I know their fans are troubled right now. Tom Wilson, those had a great year. 5 goals, 7 assists so far. 12 points for him. He's producing very, very well. Dmitry Orlov only played in 8 games, but he's got a -5. He's got no points. And so that's kind of troubling. And then the new guy in Washington would be Zdeno Chara. Zdeno Chara, 2 goals, 2 assists so far for the Caps. I think he's played well. But the team's record 6-4-3, that's problematic. That's a C for me overall. And we'll see whether or not they break out of this losing streak they've had. Pittsburgh tonight is an excellent chance for them to, get it going. And finally, Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets, Andrew Kopp, 4 goals, 8 assists for him. He's had a fantastic start to the season. Christian Vesalainen, it's a big season for him. 1 goal so far, or 1 assist, I should say, in 7 games. And so for Vesalainen, is he a National Hockey League prospect, or is he going to be a project? Is he a guy who ends up in the AHL, or maybe ends up playing in Europe? A lot of questions about him that I don't know they've been answered this year. Stastny, the new guy, 3 goals, 6 assists. Dubois was supposed to take his job, and then I don't know what's going on with Dubois, so Stastny keeps his job, and he's been pretty good at it. So there you go. The overall team record, 9-5-1, and considering all the Line A stuff, considering everything that's been going on around the team, I give them a B. I think the record's been good. And so there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.